What is up guys, it is Simba here and welcome to another League Racing video, and today this is round number 12? Number 11 I think, for the Belgian Grand Prix.
Okay, so I take a certain corner, the way I do in every other attempt, and the car spins, and I'm like, okay, it's fine, it's all good, you know, just hit the brakes, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And oh no, I'm in the wall, my car spins. I mean, what the fuck?
Well, and you can tell by the subtitles earlier, Darren had a crash at the start of qualifying. He will not take further part in the session, and as you can see, we are on our second lap of the session. And if you go on to enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button, check out the last video on screen if you haven't seen it, and let's carry on with qualifying. What would a point one get me?
It would be like 9th or 10th.
So you can hear Darren telling me that the lap that we're currently on right now is for at least P9 or P10, as we completely missed the apex there of the first part of the bus stop chicane. We get a nice exit though, and we gain some sort of time as we cross the line. It is P9 for the time being with a 43.0.
Brilliant.
At least we got something on the board though. And you can hear me say that I'm just a bit relieved to get something on the board with just over 5 minutes to go. Now we're moving on to our last lap of the session, and yeah, getting that first lap on the board has generally been quite a struggle for me in qualifying recently. So yeah, something that we need to work on. But here we go, starting the lap here in Spa, going down towards La Source, turn number 1, 4th gear for this corner. We normally would shift down to 3rd and then short shift to 4th mid apex to ease with the traction. And that hasn't really worked, but you can see we're half a tenth down already in the first sector as SLR Evo has retired from the session. Upper Rouge we go towards the Kemmel Straight, DRS wide open, and yeah, the first sector has just been a struggle for me in this session. You can see that we're going to do a 0.9 in the first sector when we could do a 0.8 at least, but through the com we've invalidated and we're already in trouble as we're currently P10, and that won't last for very long. So yeah, qualifying continuing to be a struggle, but we're going to carry on to see what the lap could have been. But at the moment it's not looking too great anyway as we go through No Name. Nicely done actually, and as you can see, frustratingly, we're like 2 tenths up here. As we go through Pouon, we go a little bit wide, so the lap would have been invalid anyway. But you can see here, we gained 2 tenths and we haven't even completed the lap yet. Through this chicane now, very easy to get it wrong, especially on the exit. You can easily spin out there. Through Stavelo's now, this is the first one, 5th gear, a little bit wide, but again, very good traction out of the corner. Through Stavelo 2 now, and we are literally 3 tenths up, so this is actually a really good lap, a pretty decent lap towards the end of the session, but it's not going to mean anything as we invalidated my favourite corner, which is Lacombe. As you can hear Arch being the most relatable person in the party, he's just done a 41.9 and he says he could have done a 0.8, so he really needs to touch some grass as we come out of the bus stop chicane, and it's a 42.7. Jesus Christ, another stinker. And you heard my reaction at the end of the session, and we quickly found out that with that 0.7 that we did, it would have been enough for P6, and we're P14 instead. That's the second time in a row that we could have been P6 if we nailed the lap, but instead it's P14 and with a lot to do in the race. So once again, we're fighting from underneath. But we're going to give it a go anyway. Time for the race, the main event of the weekend, and you know what the strategy is. I'm not even going to bother putting it on the screen, but P14 on the grid. Let's see what we can do here. You can hear me say, let's go to work, and that's exactly what we're going to do in the Belgian Grand Prix for round 11 of the championship. And the lights are out, and we are underway for the Belgian Grand Prix, and the second phase is actually quite better than the first phase, going in towards La Source now, just making sure that we keep things clean, as it's very easy to have a collision here. We go round the outside of Jam and Medal, who has really bogged down at the start once again, and we've made up 2 places in the opening few corners, so a very good start from us once again. But as we go through Radion, that's a stupid noise. Oh, dear. We get a very silly warning on the opening lap, so already we're having to be a little bit mindful of track limits as we go into Lacombe.
Oh god, I got so much on this there.
Evo, mate, what was that?
What even happened?
He just sent it up the inside and cut the first part So, yeah, you can hear me being very confused at Evo as Ham has gone round again. Another race that looks pretty tough for the Williams driver. His brother Jam has overtaken us. We don't really fight him too much. He's on medium tyres. But yeah, Evo, I don't know what on earth he was doing there through the comp. He didn't even bother making the corner properly without cutting it. But so far, so good. We've made up 3 places on the opening lap. As you can hear Darren in the background talking about a collision that has happened behind us, which we do not need to worry about. So,
Completely exploded.
once again, our race start has proven to be pretty decent, and we've gained 3 places. So, now we can actually try and settle down and find some confidence as we skip to lap 4. Not much is happening. DRS has already been enabled, and we're right behind a familiar face called SLR Quattro. But yellow flags.
Yep, that'll be a safe car.
Safe car.
Okay, there's been
There
an
you go.
incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are so far no plans for a safety car.
The medium guys are really getting away with the last 2 races. Jesus Christ. Dan's in as well. Oh, P9 now. So, safety car deployed thanks to Louis' crash, and we move up to P9 because we're going to stick to the original strategy here, and we're going to move on to the medium tyres later on in the Grand Prix. Safety car is going to be coming in at the end of lap 6, and we have found ourselves in the points paying positions as we get underway again, going down into the chicane. Oh my god. Quattro just about gets away with that. I don't know what he was doing there. It looked like he went for a gap that didn't really exist for the Aston Martin, reserving for Griffiths, who's not racing here in this race, and he's not racing in the next race in Monza either, so another reserve driver will probably take his spot for that race. But anyway, we are still right behind him. We get our second warning for track limits on lap 7, so now we're really going to have to be careful now with track limits for the rest of this Grand Prix, because a 3-second time penalty will just hurt our race. And we can't afford that. But now going into Le Combe, there's quite a bit of lag on my stream. I think Andres just went off the track, but something's happened to Race Roller, and I think something's happened to Ogwin as well. I think Race Roller has managed to get damage in the first lap of the restart. I think Ogwin hit the back of him as we hit the back of Andres there, going through turn 9. He looked really slow, as there's yellow flags in front of us, and you can see Andres weaving a little bit. You can see now there's Race Roller. He qualified on the front row, and unfortunately he's got damage. He's lost his entire front wing, and Ogwin got damage as well. So both of their races completely ruined, as we're looking to try and settle down a little bit, try and get through the chaos, and see if we can make up any other places. You can see my stream's a bit laggy, and sorry about that. I didn't really check the stream quality before the race. I've just come home from uni, and yeah, there you go. I'll make sure the quality's a little bit lower so you can actually see what's going on the screen.
Oh, you have. Oh my god! What the? Why? What?
What the fuck's happened?
Question, Roller. Why me?
And as soon as I say that, Darren's luck is just not there. Roller has managed to bottom out on the curb out of Stavilo 2, and he's spun into Darren's Williams, and Darren is now down the order. You've got to feel for him at this point, because the luck is not there. Meanwhile, Andres and Quattro are side by side going through Le Combe. I think Quattro has just managed to stay ahead, but we get a penalty for track limits, and that is exactly what we were looking to avoid as the stream lags out a bit again. We're having a look at Andres, but no avail through there. We stay behind through No Name. But going through Blanchemont now, we get a really good run on the Haas, and we're looking to try and make up for the penalty. We're going to try and take a bit more of an aggressive approach to this race, round the outside through the bus stop. It'll turn to the inside for the final corner, and that is a lovely move every time you'd see it. And we are up into 6th place in this race, but DRS has just been enabled, and it's up to us to try and make sure we keep up with Quattro, whose pace is actually pretty decent, even though he told me before the race that it wasn't very good. The gap remains around 1.4, 1.5 seconds, but lap 12 you can see we're going to box at the end of this lap to try and get an undercut on the Aston Martin. You can see Sem ahead of us on track is also pitting, who's been really impressive in qualifying lately. He qualified 4th this race, so good on you, Sem, as we are now in the pits for the medium tyres. And some people pitted during that first safety car, so we might be catching them towards the end of the race as they'll be struggling on their old, medium or hard compound tyres. So hopefully the pace is there and we should be able to catch these guys by the end of the race. And we come up behind Ogween, who I mentioned earlier, and he's trying to drag those mediums to the end of the race. Poor him. So up to lap 14 now. Evo and Medal in the pits, and you can see the undercut has worked wonders for us. We are well ahead of Quattro. The minute he comes out of the pits, we're already 2 seconds ahead of him. And there's another audio cut, but I basically said at this point, the undercut is clear, and it really shows. So look at that, already 3 seconds ahead of Quattro, and we're going to carry on pushing in the clean air to see if we can catch some of the cars ahead of them by the end of the race, and see if we can snatch maybe one or maybe 2 championship points. You can see we've gone green in the first 2 sectors, and actually we set the fastest lap of the race on lap 15. So pace is looking good.
Alright boys, how do you feel about that?
And you can hear me say, how have you allowed that? Because I wasn't expecting to set a fastest lap. We skip with a very nice transition to lap 18. Charlie is right in front of us, and he lets us go easily.
Appreciate that, mate.
And you can hear me say to him, I appreciate that, as he doesn't put up too much of a fight. He actually hasn't stopped yet. So he was one of those cars in the train looking for a miracle really in this race, looking for another safety car. So we'll see what happens there. We get past the Red Bull of Charlie, up into P11. We're only 2 seconds behind Ogween and Riggsy. And I think Riggsy's dragging those tyres towards the end of the race as well. So, yeah, I think we can snatch a point or 2. It's just the penalty is really starting to hurt us now. I think we picked up a few more warnings in the meantime as well. So I think we're on 5 warnings in this race. But later on, towards the end of lap 18, Hammer's got a puncture. And something else has happened. Paraquigs is out of the race, and that is a safety car, and we immediately decide to stay out. But Charlie is the big winner here.
Oh my god.
Damn it. Should I pit or stay out? No, I'll stay out.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay, overtake the safety car. You may overtake the safety car. It's waiting to pick up the leader.
staying awake was worth it.
Charlie's loving life. He's an absolute limb. And there you go. You can hear me say Charlie's an absolute limbs, and he really was. It was really funny because I haven't heard him react that way before. But Charlie can now pit for soft tyres towards the end of the race, and I think Jam has as well. We're up into P5. We decided to stay out in that safety car period. Coolest thought it was a bad idea for me to stay out, but with the penalty, we need all the track position we can get. But we've got Jam right behind us on soft tyres, and Elite Risk ahead of us also on 5 warnings as well. So 2 laps to go. We have found ourselves in the points. Let's see what happens, because it's going to be a very interesting last 2 laps to this Belgian Grand Prix. A track that hasn't served us too well in terms of luck. Might have given us a little bit of a chance to score some unlikely points. So here we go, lap 21 out of 22. You can see we are in P5 with 2 laps to go. We've got Jam right behind us on the soft tyres. So like the first lap, we're not going to fight him because there's no point fighting him on soft tyres.
Honestly, I want to live.
And you can hear me say once again, I want to live. Alright, we want points. And we've been given a lucky chance with the safety car as well. So also, Ogween is fighting Riggsy at the moment, and he's on softs as well. So he's the one that we have to watch out for. Medal is right behind us in P7 as well. So we could try, as a team, we could score double points on a day that Williams might be scoring 0. And if you're wondering about what's happened to Darren, he pitted under that safety car, and he's not caught up with the pack. So Darren having a very, very boring race, and he's not going to get anywhere near the points here today, unfortunately for him. But for us, still a chance to get points. We are still P6, moving on to the last lap. Ogween has passed Riggsy, he's passed Medal, and he's right behind us. And he's the one that we're worrying about, because this is for position, as we've both got penalties. But right now we're draining the battery through Blanchemont, making sure that we have just a bit of breathing space so he doesn't go for a move into the bus stop. But speaking of the bus stop, Elite Risk has gone round for a half spin. He's made contact with Turner. We go through, out of the chicane towards the line. What the fuck?
Oh.
What?
Which prick did that? What the fuck are you doing?
What
Idiot!
happened? What happened? What happened?
Fuck's sake!
What happened?
You're a fucking idiot, Elite! What are you doing? Fuming. Absolutely fuming. You couldn't write that finish. You really couldn't write that finish at all. We go for a spin meters from the line, and my reaction speaks for itself. You can see Ogwin finished 8th. That's where we would have finished if not for the collision. So no points here in Spa. Our teammate managed to go from like 8th to 5th in the space of a few corners, and for us it is another pointless race. So yeah, guys, no luck again. It seems that we've gone back to square one, but we're going to keep pushing to try and get some more points out of the season, and the next one's going to be in Monza. So until then, take care. I'll see you all in the next one.